Let me tell you, I'm like you. I cried on Friday. I cried on Saturday. Then Michael Hayes called me. You called me. Hunter checked on me. And, let's just say hypothetically I have 325 contacts. On my 325 contacts, I got at least 100 texts.
Wow.
I mean, my good friend Conrad called me 20 times. Wendy called me 20 times. Melinda called me 20 times. Mark Carano called me 20 times. Triple H, I mean, the outpour of people that were concerned because they knew how close we were. And then Michael Hayes called me back a second day and said, you know what? Roddy Piper wouldn't want us to sit here and cry. He wouldn't want us to miss one day. He wouldn't want us to miss one day in this on my phone, please. And I'm going to read a text that I got about Roddy Piper that kind of tells the story of it all. And it's from a guy that I did an event for, that Melinda arranged for me 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, and it was up in Hamilton, Canada, Edmonton, Canada. And he sent me this. First of all, he sends condolences about Roddy, and then he goes, my favorite story, apparently my gym teacher knew him from when they were young. On a stop through Winnipeg, he was able to meet up with Roddy, brag to all of us he was hanging out with Hot Rod that night. I don't know what they ended up doing, but no one in school heard from him for 2 days. You shouldn't try to keep up with Mr. Piper. He'll put you under the table. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's just the guy in Edmonton. That's not even a wrestler.
Well, I can honestly say yes. To never challenge Hot Rod Roddy Piper. Even now, I won't even say them words because every time I did, I was under the table or lost for 3 or 4 days, or I didn't know where I was. Even though I was wrestling, I kind of lost myself a couple times. And like Rick said when he was giving the speech, when Hot Rod got inducted into the Hall of Fame, Knobs, you found out. You don't ever mess with Roddy Piper. He was not only the greatest guy, but he was hardcore before hardcore was cool, and he was the real deal. I'm telling you, there was no bull BS about Roddy Piper. He told you what he felt right there on the spot, and he had much respect from everybody, and he was beloved. I mean, so much beloved. I mean, we were at Friday, and Rick was on my show June 7th. I do a Legends of Wrestling, and I wanted to have Roddy so bad, and a lot of times I tried to get him. He was already booked, but it's with Major League Baseball all the time, and we did it at Citi Field. Well, this one we did at Marlins Park with the Marlins. During the game, they were playing the San Diego Padres, and right 10 minutes before we were ready to go on, it was me, Sag, Mick Foley, Kevin Nash, Bushwhacker Luke, who knew him and Butch knew him through the 60s. They knew him the longest out of all of us. And someone texted me and said, tell Knobs, I got some bad news. I heard Piper passed away. And I stopped all the guys. I said, hey, guys, and this is right 10 minutes before we're ready to go out. And Kevin Nash and everybody else got on the phone to see if it was real. And we found out it was real. And all of us, even though we're all grown men in this business, we're crying our hearts out. You know what I mean? And we all got together. We all huddled. We were all hugging. And it was such a bond and just like, everybody loved Roddy. The guys who really, really knew him and been through a lot of experiences with him were all together there. And I mean, it was a sad feeling, but a good feeling. We went out and did the show, and then me, Sag, and Luke saying, take me out to the ball game. And at the end, I dedicate, even though it was better than what Roseanne did, but I'm just going to tell you, I dedicated it to Hot Rod Roddy Piper. We love you. God bless you, and thoughts and prayers go out to your family. So, I mean, we were really choked up and emotional that whole day. And then the next day, I called Rick. That was Saturday, and we talked. And then we started off, really somber. And then all of a sudden, we started telling stories. And before you know it, me and Rick were laughing our butts off because we had a lot of good times together. And he was one of the greatest person I ever known. And all I can say is, thank you, Roddy. You will never be forgotten in my heart. I'll miss you forever, and I'll think of you all the time.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. He's I'm just going to go on record as saying he's the greatest heel in the history of our business. He was fearless. He knew how to get heat, and he wasn't afraid of heat. And I've got stories that nobody will believe about San Domingo, which I'm going to tell myself in a minute. But I want to send you pretty much the consensus, and I'm not sure if this is good or bad, on what Piper and I were like. Hunter was one of the people that checked on me, as I referred to earlier. So he was checking in. And I won't go over the first day, but he goes, "How you doing today, Nate?" This was on Saturday.
This is a text message from
Hunter. A
Hunter.
text message from Hunter to me, and I goes, "How you doing?" And I go, "Thankful for friends like you, and focusing on all the great times Rod and I had together." That's my reply to Hunter via text. And he goes, "At least the ones you can remember." Then he goes, I think he was implying that Roddy and I don't remember some of the stuff we did. Is that what
That's
that meant?
fair, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, if that's what Roddy and me, if that's what our legacy is, it is what it is, because we had a lot of fun. But long before I met Roddy Piper, I'm just going to throw a story in here that I think is worth telling, and there's nothing wrong about it. It's just kind of like where Roddy was in life, and I certainly have done the same thing to entertain people. It's just I've done it to entertain women, not guys, right? So, but Roddy was a dry river. So we're in Charlotte in 1976, and Buddy Roberts is in the territory, not yet a Freebird, right?
Right.
And so Buddy says to me, "I hear Roddy Piper's coming in." I said, "Yeah, I got him starts next week." I said, "I haven't met him." I said, he goes, "I hear he's the greatest interview in the business." So already that had my attention, right? So I'm thinking, here comes competition, right?
Sure.
Young guy, right? I knew he was, and Buddy Roberts goes, "I got to tell you a story, man. And I mean, but let me know what you think about this guy after you hang around him." I said, "Well, tell me." He said, "Well, Roddy, before when he first started, was working for Mike LaBelle out in the old L.A. territory, right?" Mm-hmm. So Buddy called Mike LaBelle, or Mike LaBelle called Buddy and said, "Do you want to come in for a 3-month run?" And Buddy said, "Of course, man." So he said, "I'll send a guy to pick you up at LAX." So Buddy said he came walking out of the airport, and there was a guy in a convertible waving to him like this, honking the horn, hey, buddy, hollering, and it was Roddy. And so Buddy walked over, had his bag with him, and walked up on the car, the convertible. And Roddy was sitting in the car, and for lack of a better word, he was smoking a Pall Mall naked. And told Buddy to throw his bag in the back and hop in the front, and he'd take him to the hotel.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And so Buddy Roberts threw his bag in the back, got in the car. Roddy handed him to Pall Mall and said, "Welcome to L.A." He took him over to the hotel. Dropped him off. Yeah, that was hot rod, man.
You guys back in that era.
At least I was picking up a girl when I was naked in the
car. Don't let me start about you in the robe. And Piper was there in that too.
Which one?
When you came down with the robe, and I had to come down with cowboy boots, and I thought I was dusty naked.
You can tell
Nobody
that story.
wanted to see that. Please.
You can tell that story. That was in London.
That was in London. Rick comes down with the robe on and nothing else on. He opens the robe up, and with a full packed bar. So I go, and Piper's there. "I wouldn't let him out through you, this and that." And this is what Dusty used to do. Just come down naked with his cowboy boots on. So that's what I did. And I'll tell you, Rick's body was a hell of a lot better looking than mine. When I came down, I think I scared half the people out of the restaurant.
Why do you think I wore the robe? Wouldn't even good have that kind of exposure.
Wow. But we had such good times.
There was a method to my madness. Keep the robe handy.
You're definitely right. And my brother-in-law, who people that don't know, was Greg the Hammer Valentine. And we were going to try to get him on today, but he is still so devastated because, that dog collar match goes down in history with him and Piper. And that was one of his friends. He talked to him every week just like Rick did. And it's just a shock to all of us. But, you can't, like you say, he would want us to have fun and enjoy and celebrate his life because he was one of a kind. There will never be no one like him. And I'll second what Rick said. The greatest heel in our business ever. Yep. And look, he was in WrestleMania 1, and now they're up to WrestleMania 32, 33. And he was great at whatever he did, but he knew how to get heat that people actually wanted to kill him.
Yeah, he did, and he wasn't afraid of anybody. I mean, they had a riot in St. Louis with Junkyard Dog. They had a riot with Snuka. They had a riot. I mean, I wrote in my book, and I firmly believe this. I think that he was very difficult for Vince to control, which is understandable, the Roddy we know. But he would have been a phenomenal world champion. He never got the world title because Vince didn't think he could control him. I mean, that was the deal. And he probably couldn't have. You couldn't tell. If Roddy didn't feel like hearing what you were saying to him as a promoter, he didn't,
But the wrestling business is different in that regard because a lot of times, when you talk about Hall of Fame quarterbacks, they say, oh, well, Marino never got a ring. Yeah. Piper never needed the belt. He was always going to be.
But I'm saying if he had,
he'd have been phenomenal.
That wouldn't have stopped the sale of lunchboxes for Hogan.
No.
But can I tell you, Hulk Hogan never pinned Roddy Piper.
Well, I know that. That's why I'm saying. I didn't say Roddy ever got beat.
Yeah, Roddy never got beat. He may have never got the belt, but he never got beat either.
The only dumbass from that generation that said yes all the time was me. I've won 16 matches and lost 10,000. What the hell? And who would ever want to use the figure four and never beat anybody? Jesus Christ.
16 matches.
Ryan, how many times have you seen somebody tap out with a figure four? I can't even get Wendy to tap out anymore. She goes, this is phony, and I want to turn it over. That's hard. What kind of matches are we selling now?
Rick, I can't even imagine.
Oh, Casper.
Yeah, by the way, we have a new Casper mattress with one of our sponsors, and Wendy can turn me over to figure four in a Casper mattress. So you might want to buy one for you and Antonio.
Hey, Rick, I must say, I can't imagine back in the days in like 79, 80, you, the Hammer, Piper, the Briscoe brothers.
Listen, Orton, Slater, Jake Roberts.
Oh my God, it had to be the craziest ever. I heard so many different stories, and I wasn't there, so I don't want to repeat a story and get it wrong. But
no,
I'm going to
give you the lineup.
And Piper and you just ripping Charlotte apart.
Oh my God, my only DUI in my life. This is another fabulous story. We're at 2001, the hottest club in Charlotte. So Roddy and I get Mike Rotundo, poor Mike, just a brand new rookie on the road, so drunk, we strip him completely naked, put him up on the bar, and we take the fruit plate, the waitresses, the bartenders, and they put it all around his parts, right? We leave Rotundo naked. So I get in the car, and I say, Roddy, let's head down to Belmont Club. Belmont was all night drinking out in another county in Charlotte. So we'll get all the way downtown, get all the way down by the Holiday Inn on Little Rock Road. I come to a stoplight, and all of a sudden, behind me, the car pushing me through the damn light.
Oh, wow.
Who do you think it is? It's Roddy, with a cop sitting right there. So the guy writes me a ticket. I'm standing on a hill. I park on an inclined hill. I can't walk up the hill. The guy takes me, says, get in the car. He takes me to jail and looks at Piper and says, you get your ass home and get out of here now or I'll take you too. Piper goes, yes, sir. By the time we drove under the jail, they got that glass. Not that I would know that glass is so thick you can't see through it, right? Not that I would know, but Piper was standing there going, hi, I'm here. I'm waiting for you. How long? I go, are you kidding me? Roddy, stop. This guy's going to put you in jail. I'm waiting.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he was fearless. And you know what? At 5 o'clock in the morning when they finally let me out, he was there.
Hey, I would always ask him, Rick, about getting in the movies. When I was just got in the business, I was in my 20s, and he would always say, you got to pay your dues first, kid. You got to pay your dues first, kid. So then, 10 years later, 11 years later, I'm still asking the same questions. Then he said, you're too old now to be an actor.
And Jack had a special place in your heart for him. And God only knows, from the time that Ole Anderson was dumb enough to fire Piper from the Atlantic, or from Georgia Championship Wrestling, and Roddy said to me, "Do you think I can start going to the Caribbean with you for Carlos Colon?" I said, "No problem." And from that point on, the Briscoes and Piper and Flair toured the Caribbean on a regular basis. It was fun, but it wasn't pretty.
What a run, though. It was fun.
Where do I have a $2,000 bar tab at a Holiday Inn in the Condado?
Oh, we walked in. This is the Nate at its finest. We just sold out the Brill Stadium, about 20,000 people, and right outside of San Juan, Carlos and Rick for the title, and so we had to celebrate, of course. So Jack and I were on the card, and the next day, Rick and Roddy were going to Dominican Republic for a shot over there. So we're sitting at the Holiday Inn, and we're killing time, as old timers used to do, to sit around and BS, and all of a sudden, hey, let's do something. Let's play basketball. Well, it's about 110 degrees in San Juan, right in the middle of the Caribbean. Right in the middle. So we go out, hotel gives us a basketball. So I don't think, Hot Rod being from the Great White North, in the northwest part of the country in Canada, hadn't seen too much basketball. So we challenged Rick, the world champion, and Piper, one of the biggest stars in America, to a basketball game. My brother and I, we're not basketball, we're basketball. But you know what? We're a little bit smarter than those two guys. We got them out there. Rick didn't have any tennis shoes on. I don't think Hot Rod had any on either. So Jack and I, like I said, it's 100 on that basketball court. It's right in the middle of the sun. So we're not trying to score. We're just passing the ball. And Rick's running back and forth trying to steal the damn ball from us. Hot Rod's running back and forth trying to. And by the time it was over with, they both had blisters on their feet that they couldn't even wear their wrestling boots.
Well, here's the deal. The thing of it is we were having a few drinks because I didn't think I had to wrestle that night. Then I got there and had to wrestle an hour. And then we came back, and I actually refresh your memory a little bit. We had a $2,000 tab that night. You and I and Piper and Jack were drinking at the bar, and some guy came in and shot somebody, remember? In the Holiday Inn that night.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. There's a regular deal in the Condado. A guy came in and shot somebody, and Jack looked at me and said, hell, let's just keep drinking. What can we do about it? I said, okay. Yeah. No problem. So on the same night, and I'm sure you'll remember this too, Stan Hansen, Piper had seen Stan Hansen somewhere use the clothesline to knock someone down. So Piper, of course, you remember that bridge they had from one hole to the other?
Oh, I remember that.
With all the potted plants, Roddy was hammered and ran across the bridge, knocking down all the potted plants.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so they came and arrested Roddy.
And soon there was a knock at the door,
Yeah, they came and arrested Roddy, put Roddy in jail. And actually, on that particular trip, I had a double shot Asheville and Greensboro. So I took off, and I landed in Asheville, and Crockett says, where's Piper? I said, he's in jail. He did make it to Greensboro, though, but he missed the first shot. Nothing I could do to help. I wasn't going down to the jail to get him, I can tell you that.
No kidding. You've been there with him. I know you.
Exactly.
One of another great stories about the Caribbean.
I was staying with you guys and getting on the plane, FYI.
Another great story, about the Caribbean. We're leaving our respective island, whichever one. We terrorized every island there was in the Caribbean, and those great people down there put up with the four of us. How we stayed out of trouble, I'll never know. But bless those people down there. We love them all. We're coming back into the United States, and just coincidentally, our planes landed at the same time.
In Miami.
And imagine this happening now. Just picture this.
This is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. The airport is just jam-packed, and we're going through immigration, customs, whatever you go through there. We just cleared, and all of a sudden there's this rumble behind us, and Flair and Piper tackle us, and we start fighting and wrestling in the middle.
Well, actually, you started stretching. Okay, let's get serious. I appreciate you saying that, but Roddy and I proceeded to get stretched. And everybody walking by was going, I thought you were tough and the world champion. I said, not so tough right now, sorry. You listen to me on TV. Do what I say. Listen, but don't believe it what you saw. Thank God they didn't have a tape of that.
You had so many people doing what you say. Poor Canoe, you nearly got him killed.
Oh, I know that was in Sumter, South Carolina.
here comes a custom guy. Mr. Custom Guy, please don't arrest us. You guys just get up and get out of my area here and go to your flights and get away.
That was. Can you imagine doing that now, Jeremy?
No.
That's what kind of fun we had. Then Roddy and I got on a plane. You guys got on one to Tampa. Roddy and I got on a plane to Charlotte, and we were singing Jingle Bells and drinking all the way. And the pilot came out and said, back then you could tell a flight attendant to, take a hike.
Yeah.
If he told you to shut up, and then, so the pilot came out and said, "Hey guys, I'm landing this plane. If you guys don't shut up."
You guys are getting out of there.
We went, okay.
They made you stop singing Jingle Bells?
Yeah. Well, they had the whole plane singing. You kidding? Roddy was going up and down the aisle, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell. Well, we got off the plane, and Kitty and Beth were sitting there going, "Oh boy, yeah. Merry Christmas, girls."
You remember the story, Rick, when we talked Jimmy into doing that Roanoke show in the afternoon, so we could go see Willie Nelson. I think it was Piper and Jack and I and poor Mike Rotundo, and Jimmy agreed. So he ran a 2:30 show instead of 7:30 show, so we could go see Willie Nelson. So we get the car all loaded down, ready to see. We get our refreshments and all that. And when Asheville or Lynchburg, it's foggy, in the wintertime and cloudy. You can't see very well. So
listen. When you're driving, it's foggy all the time anyway. Back in the 70s, okay.
Well, it's Piper driving, by the way. It's Piper driving. It's even worse. So Piper, we head out. You couldn't see nothing. We're all singing Willie Nelson songs. All of a sudden, we hadn't seen an exit for a while. All of a sudden, we see this exit, Bluefield, West Virginia, next exit. We'd gone opposite down way on Interstate 77 to Bluefield, West Virginia, instead of south to go to Charlotte to see Willie. We turned that old blue Cadillac a hot rod around. We rambled down those mountains. Somehow we made it safely. Pulled in the back parking lot. There was Jackie Crockett walking in the parking lot with an empty bottle of tequila. We knew we were in trouble. And Willie was at Whiskey River, his closing number. About that time, Willie come walking off. Fortunately, he stopped, and we got to be. We didn't see him concert at all because we traveled all day. But we felt really good.
I can remember these guys. It wasn't funny back then because the Briscoes could do you damage. I mean, physically. So one time, like I'm still a kind of a rookie. This is before I'm a world champion. They fly me down to Tampa to wrestle Jack. So that, have Jack beat me so that when I got the belt, it was an opponent, and Jack didn't work a lot then anyway. So I'm still new to the Briscoes, and afterwards, after the match in Tampa, they take me out. And now they've got, what's the tequila with the worm in it? You guys made me eat the worm that night? Mezcal, yeah. So we're drinking beer and shooting mezcal, right? And Jack said, well, you're going to be the world champion, you got to eat the damn worm. Ugh. So, of course, I had no choice. Jerry held me, and Jack shoved it down my throat. Chasing with this. Oh, my God.
Hey, Rick, you were a good student when it came to that.
Yeah, I tried. Jesus Christ. It was rough hanging on you guys. What a way. I mean, I was trying to tell. We just had Knobs on the phone, on the podcast talking about Piper. But if you think about it, here was the deal. Charlotte territory, 1978-79. The Briscoes, Mulligan, Flair, Jake Roberts,
Steamboat,
Piper, Steamboat, Youngblood, Dick Slater, Bob Orton Jr. I mean, name it.
Valentine.
Greg Valentine. Wahoo. I mean, it was unreal. Paul Jones.
It was a Hall of Fame card every night, man.
It was a Hall of Fame card every night. I mean, it was unreal. Yeah. We had so damn much talent. And the thing about it is after Jack lost the title, he didn't give a shit. He just wanted to have fun.
No. That's all he did. He did have fun.
Yeah. I mean, Jack and Jerry, they didn't need the money. They had a body shop going. They'd already sold their stock. And, I mean, they didn't need the money. They just liked to have fun.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't about... Huh?
I said, we just want to be there and be with their friends.
Yeah, you didn't want to go home. Who wanted to go home?
Exactly.
We drive up to Greensboro and call our wives and say, we got a big meeting tomorrow. Got to spend the night 90 miles away on Saturday night. Okay.
Yeah. And get by with it.
Yeah, well, you got away with it.
Well, you did what you didn't with your first.
I don't know how. First of all, Jerry.
First four or five.
Jerry Briscoe, like Piper. Let me give you this, guys. Has been married to the same woman his entire life. Jerry Briscoe has been married longer to one woman than I've been married to four altogether.
Well, I got a beautiful.
I saw her at Dusty's funeral. I swear to God, I don't know what kind of drugs you keep around to keep you around. I mean, what the hell?
Well, she just puts up with me. She's one of those good old Carolina girls.
He bought a big estate out on a lake where there's no.
Yeah, I used to have lakefront property. Now I'm in the lake. Now the damn lake's so high.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's rained every day down there. Like 29 out of 30 days.
Oh, I know. Trust me. Every time I go on vacation, I'm spending $500 a night to sit in the rain. You know?
Yeah.
Thank God the bar at the pool stays open.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, Hot Rod to both of us. Rick was a dear, special person. They only come around like that every once in a while, and we had the great pleasure of not only being in the ring with him, but also being close friends and getting the opportunity to travel with him, be with his family, and love his family, and Hot Rod earned everybody's respect. And I mean, what kind of legacy the guy's going to leave is just tremendous. He'll never be forgotten.
No, but God, I go on record as saying he's the greatest heel of all time in the history of the business.
Yeah, I do too.
And I got to tell one quick story that I love, and Jerry was there to see this. We're in Asheville, North Carolina, separate dressing rooms at that time. There was still some loyalty to the business between the guys where we weren't running back. The referees carried the word, whatever it was.
Right.
So I go to Jerry, I go up to Jack Briscoe, and I go up to Piper, and I go, look it, I promise, there's no way that Jack will find out. I'll bet you $100 you can't take down Jack. You can't take on Jack Briscoe. He says, Piper goes, he got real serious. He said, you mean to tell me that you're not going to tell him, you're not going to say a word, and you don't think I can take him down? I said, not a chance. So he goes, you're on, man. So here's Roddy, man, pulling at the cord and all this, getting ready. So I say, Tommy Young, go over there and tell Jack the Piper's going to try and take him down.
I can't believe Black will believe.
Oh, we're all out there by the piano. The whole curtain is full, right? 6,000 people sold out.
Yeah.
And finally, 10 minutes goes in, and Piper was waiting, man. And Jack was just kind of dancing around. Jack always looked like he wasn't ready. And I'll be damned if Piper didn't get his leg. But that damn Jack Briscoe hopped around on one foot for about 30 seconds until Roddy got close enough to grab, and then it was,
Piper's kicking him, everything, and Jack's staying on that one
not
foot.
A chance. And when Roddy came in too far, boom, and the next thing, Jack was, what do you call that, the angel thing where he was flapping his wings, look, Mom, no hands?
Yeah.
And Roddy was going,
guillotine there,
man. Roddy had some exotic hold. Piper came back and said, I'm going to kill you, Flair.
I spin around him with no hands, Dan.
Oh, God.
That's awesome.
We did that all the time. I did that with this guy named Don Kernoodle. So I told Jack and Jerry, so I said, I'm going to screw around with this. Kernoodle was my partner against Jack and Jerry. And they know I'm not going to screw on them because they have stretched me. I don't like it. I get to the rope.
Nobody likes it.
No, I know, but I mean, you would think I don't even like playing with them because it's not play. I can't even play. I can't even get to a base, If I could get to my base once in a while, I could never get off my stomach. So that Kernoodle drop down, leapfrog. So Jerry drops down. I jump on top of Jerry. He's away from me in 6 seconds to roll over. I'm back, and a tag Kernoodle wasn't even ready for the tag. Kernoodle goes, shit, what have you just done? I said, you're in. I didn't get the ring rest of the night.
I saw Kernoodle this past weekend. He reminded me. He said he got to know my elbow real well that night.
Well, the funny thing was that you had him down so long, the crowd was going boring.
Yeah.
I was going, let him up. Let's go home and get a beer, Jesus Christ. Oh, that was so damn fun. I never got in the ring again. I just gave him the short tag. He'd come and tag me. I'd go, whoop. That's what a heel does.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, listen, I love you, buddy, and I can't thank you enough. I'm trying to think if there's anything we left out about the Hot Rod. There's so many stories.
so many stories that we could probably go as long as we wanted to go and talk about that man. But R.I.P. Hot Rod, hug Brother Jack and Big Dust for us, and say hello to the Chief.
Yeah, we will, sure. Hey, listen, I'm going to the funeral it's on Tuesday out in Portland.
Hope to see you.
Yeah, and I'll shoot you Kitty's number. Okay.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and you can give her a call. I'm sure she'd love it. But I'm taking Wendy out there, and I just want to assure you, because I'm sure you will. Is Wes home with you?
No, he's in Vegas doing working tonight.
Oh, he's in Vegas working. Oh, just like you and I did when we went to Vegas.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
That's nice. Okay. Well, I'm sure that you will, on behalf of Roddy and yourself, being a Briscoe, we are going to say goodbye to you from CBS right now. Thank Jerry Briscoe for being on Woo Nation. We're going to go out and celebrate the life and times of the Hot Rod. So I know you probably have a case of Budweiser. Not that anybody in the world can drink that shit except you.
There you go.
Can drink Budweiser beer. I can't believe it. The Briscoes can drink 30 Buds apiece. They're not, and Jesus, I mean, it's the truth. I love you, buddy.
That's just one way. Love you too, man. Thanks so much, and R.I.P. Hot Rod.
Hey, love you, buddy. Hey, listen, do me a favor, will you? Roll me a lucky strike tonight, okay, buddy?
I sure will. Take care.
Woo! Woo Nation. Bye, Jerry Briscoe.
Woo, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jerry Briscoe, and good Lord, we could go on all day long, but I think we've touched on some interesting stuff, and we've laughed and had fun, but I think most importantly, the people have expressed, even through all the humor, that Roddy was the best heel in the history of our business, that he was a great father, a great husband, a great guy, and very close to me, but not just to me. Roddy, whoever he touched, and he impacted their life. And the Briscoes, who were as famous as anybody in the business. And obviously Brian Knobs, who's a great character in our business, and a guy that's worked through tons of injuries, and the Nasty Boys, so much fun to be with. And I could have 30 other people on here, but Roddy wasn't afraid to speak his opinion, and is I can't remember whether it was Jerry or Brian. He did. Hulk never pinned him.
Knob said
that was not an option for Roddy, but and he certainly would have been a great champion. But as you said, which is a good point, he was so good at what he did. He didn't need to be the champion.
And from a fan's perspective, he did it all. First WrestleMania, against Hulk Hogan. He did the thing with Mr. T at the second WrestleMania. And of course, he was a big part of Starrcade, the legendary chain match we talked about with Valentine. Tag titles with you, just 10 years ago. Yeah. I mean, anything you could do. I mean, the first ever talking segment in the history of wrestling, all the Brother Love Show and the funeral parlor and all that stuff. The very first one was Piper's Pit. I mean, such an innovator in every way. You could almost say that he almost laid the groundwork for wrestlers leaving and going to Hollywood to make movies. Obviously, The Rock's taking it to another level, but he did it even before Hogan did. He walked away in '87 at the height of his career, went and did They Live. I mean, if he hadn't have done that, would Hogan have done that? Would Stone Cold have done that? Would The Rock have done that? Piper was one hell of an innovator.
Yeah, he was. And, it's funny because if you look at it like that, Roddy, he walked away when he was at his peak,
at the very tippy top,
to give something else another opportunity. And Melinda, who's sitting here, will tell you, because she, one of the things she does with her agency is fund movies,
right? And
she works very vigorously in the Hollywood sector. That Roddy was a guy that everybody adored.
Sure.
If Roddy had a weakness, and I'm not afraid to say this, he was represented by too many people who didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
And they would argue. And we went out, it's the true story. We went to sell a show with Roddy and I. And we spent a week in L.A. That's Melinda's first time around him. But Roddy had 3 agents.
I see.
And long before Roddy and I could even do our spiel, which you can imagine how good it was.
Oh, yeah.
His 3 agents, the people would be looking for something else to do because they were trying to sell themselves. And then the audacity of one guy, I won't mention his name, he wanted to own the show and have me and Roddy work for him. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That draft went through Melinda's desk because she made it into a paper airplane and flew it right back to Canada.
Right.
So, I'm not, you don't have to smile. That's pretty much where it was.
We're just pissing people off left and right here.
No, I'm just telling you. Roddy and I are going to go out there, and somebody else is going to own our show. I don't think so, but anyway, she had a phenomenal week with him. He's a great guy and great family. And Wendy, established a very close relationship with him and Kitty, and we're going to see them all on Monday, and the funeral is on Tuesday. And I think it's a private ceremony, but I think a lot of WWE is coming. And
Sure.
And I thought the segment last night that they dedicated to Roddy and
great.
continued on through the entire body of the show was absolutely fabulous.
I think so too.
And I didn't even know until today that was my voice on there. I'm glad it was,
Yeah.
because I can't say enough good things about Roddy. And when I get sad, like I'm going to get right now, but I think about it too hard, I think about the fun things. And certainly, I think the people who heard this podcast today, I mean, it's pretty authentic people, me talking about a guy that I've loved forever, and Jerry Briscoe and Brian Knobs, Brian, everything we talked about, he went right back to who Roddy was and how much he helped Brian with his career as he did me. And for me, what made Roddy and I think, really good was we competed.
Right.
Back in the old days, we wanted to buy that Wrestling Illustrated, and we wanted to be ranked number one most hated. I hate to admit that I looked at that shit, but I did. First time I saw the news, then, where am I? And Piper was ahead of me. I would tell that Bill Apper never to call me again. Jesus Christ. And then I'd say to myself, well, he's getting New York PR.
There you go.
Anyway, God bless you, Hot Rod. Gonna love you forever. Think about you forever. You're a part of my life. You're a part of Woo Nation. And on behalf of Conrad, my good friend Conrad Thompson, Melinda Zanoni, my attorney and agent, and also a close friend of Roddy's, and Wendy, my fiance, who was here with us today, and had a close relationship with Roddy, and obviously from Wife Swap became very close. I don't know how she lived with Roddy Piper on that mountain for a week.
Before we let you go, you got to have a fun wife swap story about that whole experience.
I really don't. I just drank with Kitty. I didn't. I knew Wendy wasn't having fun. First of all, the guy goes to bed at 3 in the morning, don't get up till 11.
Right.
And you don't want to be there when he gets up. He's not in a good mood, right, Wendy? Jesus, forget it. I used to call him the houseplant. I thought you used to say, Roddy, I tell you what I'm going to do. When he was living the Days Inn, I'm going to come by and water you during the day. Make sure you stay moist until you wake up. Okay, we got to go to work tonight sometime.
That's awesome.
It's a true story. He would go to bed 3 in the morning and sleep until 11 or 12, and get up and start his day. So I'd drive by in the morning with a water plant. I'm just kidding, but I'd say, I'll come by and water you. I call him the houseplant.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, what are you doing? Sleeping. Leave me alone. So, anyway, great guy, great times, and one of the most, probably the most real character in the history of our business.
Yeah.
The Hot Rod. We love you, man.